student protests. The protest, like where they're taking over the quad, they're taking the building, is over their living conditions.
Oh, no.
And if you're an HBCU alum, it's legendary about how raggedy. Yeah. And there's no other word to use, but
that is the Nike of HBCUs.
Yeah, how raggedy the campus is. And so some of the conditions listed in the article is that they have mold. They have black mold growing in the dorms. Flooding.
Well, at least it's black mold. It is HBCU.
Molding.
That was a good one.
But
yeah, there's flooding. There's flooding, and there's pictures, like Instagram pictures of like the kids walking down the hallway with like a big 3-inch swoosh of water, like going as they're going to class.
They skiing out there?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Who say black people don't ski?
Rats.
Oh no, that's too much.
And that right there is enough for me to pack all of my belongings.
Yeah, that's a lot going on.
And that's what's going on at Howard. And the thing about it, that the reason it makes news is because this is not new.
Got you.
Is it that bad there? I don't know anything about that. That's why
it is. They have rats. They have black molds. It's flooding, and their tuition is very expensive. And so, a lot of times people would like to believe that the HBCUs are not attracting black students because they don't have the financing, they don't have this and they don't have that. But the reality of the situation is the fact that y'all schools is raggedy. And so
Howard University, isn't it? It's a predominantly black school.
It is.
So it's kind of a conversation like either we got to do better as people, or better at schools. But some of that also might just depend on funding, and some of that also just depends on funding from schools and so on and so forth, right? Like a huge school, a very popular school like Howard University, it's got to be tough to like be that high, but then also not have that Yale and Princeton and all of that, like that money and your alumni. I know alumni means a lot to what the school will do, right? Xavier University this year, in 2025, will be celebrating their 100th year.
Wow. Yeah.
As an HBCU, and I think that's pretty great. It's also my daughter's, graduation year, so it's lit.
Right. I didn't know that. That's cool.
But outside of that, right,
big shout out.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's just like, these schools don't have the same funding that other schools have. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that depends on the prestige of what you would consider a Yale, a Princeton, all those other Ivy League schools. Mm-hmm. Even a school like, a private school like USC, the people that come out of those schools create millionaires and billionaires, and now you go back and you see buildings named after these people, and halls and gyms, and you know what I'm saying. Even Dr. Dre got something in his high school. He went back to Centennial and put a whole little music program in there.
Right.
So, do you think we do enough of that as alumni?
So that's a really good point about it being alumni, right? Because Howard has some very prestigious people.
First lady.
That came out of there.
I'm sorry, not first lady. Well, no. Michelle.
The vice president.
Where'd Michelle go?
She went to, I want to say, Stanford.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
She was actually Ivy, like.
No, she was she was a PWI.
Yeah.
Got you.
So it's a situation where that does play into it, right? Mm-hmm. But even Harvard, if you ever been to an Ivy League school, they're old too, right?
Yeah.
But they're kept up a little bit better.
Sure.
This is the thing about that, though. There has been money. Mm-hmm. I would say in the last decade, right, that has been allocated to preserving our HBCUs. I'm not going to name the name because I still got much love for them, but...
Pookie's University and
I went.
And Trade Show Barbecue Wing Stand.
That was a thing. That was a thing about the fact that we looked like we was in the projects.
Well,
and we were like real, and we real college student, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like there was a huge difference. I grew up in a college town, It had the main university, and and there was a couple of HBCUs. I chose the HBCU because they frequently give out full scholarships because there's money allocated to keep them and preserve them and get students, right?
I mean, the United Negro College Fund is still a thing, right?
Yeah, but to have, I mean, Howard as prestigious as it is,
sure,
for us, molding.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Where's the money going?
That's a little wild.
This is prestige,
and that's the thing. There's so many different things we could say, right? I'm trying to figure out how to articulate what the problem is as alumni. So what the problem is, right? Part of it is how we see ourselves. Which is what made this story so surprising. Because one of the things, and the reason Howard has become the prestigious university that it is because of how they hold themselves and how the Black community holds them in high esteem.
Sure.
But
they're the most famous, right?
Yeah.
Along with Morehouse and Spelman. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. And so, to me, growing up, it was like, that's what I wanted. First of all, I'm going to tell y'all, when I was a little kid, I really thought Hillman University was a real place.
You thought that was it?
And when I found out that I could not go to Whitley and Duane School, I was truly devastated.
It was a different world from where you come from.
It really was a different world. You know what I'm saying? Good plug.
Crickets.
But
just let it fall.
The show plug. I got it.
Just let it fall. Just let it fall.
No, I was.
But
here's our chance to make
But that's what gave me the love, right? And I had this image in my head that it was gonna be like that, like oh my god, like it's gonna be, and let me say this, to a certain extent, it absolutely is. There is no experience for an educated Black person like being around your peers because when you reach a certain level of education, right, you become more and more of a minority. The higher you go, the higher your grades are, the more things that you're involved in, and you start to look around and then you become special because you're the Black girl,
right?
Black guy.
But on that campus, that almost disappears.
It's everybody.
Yeah, when my baby went to school, we told her maybe you in your schooling growing up, you were the unicorn, but now you going to Unicorn University. It's a whole bunch of them, and you're gonna have to, find other ways to stand out because you have to even probably imagine that these other students have families who are possibly in their lives or people who overcome situations that they could not help, but they tried, they worked, they made it, they did their thing. Isn't college supposed to be like a real taste of real life, right? Mm-hmm. And in this Gen Z world of where we are, maybe mold is too much, but we did look at a lot of schools' dormitories when it came up to choosing schools, and they all look like C blocks and D blocks. Like it was very precinct ready. But when you go and you do what you need to do to the class, the dorms or their living spaces, you can make it look the way you want it to look. And it doesn't feel like that now. She seems very comfortable in her living spaces. So are they being a little bit bratty about it?
Not when it comes to no damn molding.
I get it. Mold, but we've always said that Howard has always had an issue, or HBCUs have had issues with this, and we didn't hit the lottery. We just learned. We just learning how to
but that's
be adults
the issue,
here,
right? Because this has been a thing that's been going on with them for decades.
Sure. Okay. So it's at this point it's unforgivable.
Here's the thing. I'm all for having a humble environment, right? Because there's a little taste of the real world and stuff.
Sure.
A lot of the kids not used to paying bills and having a lot of responsibilities. So it's like, okay, you leave the glamorous life and now this is. But if you work hard, this dorm can evolve into something much greater. So,
and it's a small thing, right? Because they don't stay in dorms forever.
No,
typically by your third year, you're out of that.
Things that can be life-threatening, molding and stuff. You got to do something about that.
You're right.
And reputation is everything. They got to do something about that. So you got to get some money. I don't care. Get whatever what do you call it? Not even. I almost said exterminator. Wow. Get someone in there to take care of that, just for the health of the students.
Is that exterminator mold?
It's
a lie.
No,
it's got to be just.
There's people who actually do that for a living, and it can be done. But
just
at this
point, just put comment everywhere.
Yeah.
Start seasoning the bathtub and season your walk space.
I just personally don't like it because, like I said, it's a predominantly black school, and we also deserve. Yes, no one's saying you got to have like all this fancy stuff, but there's a lot of stereotypes that come with being black and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you're right.
Howard is not it's not a community college. Not
We
that
gotta do
anything's wrong
better.
with community
We
gotta
college.
do better.
It's not a community college. So
Right. It's
we need
40 grand to go there.
Because that
Right,
year.
that-
tuition
Right.
is a beast.
And right now, at this point, we just buying Gucci. We're not even getting really
Yeah.
good
I'm sure
things.
some of those.
And it's hard
I'm sure
to
some of
get-
those professors are making a lot of money. Someone can come together and,
They
and
have
hire
the
someone
best
to
of
do
the
that.
best there.
Right.
Like I said, first,
they also have the
the
best of the
first
best
black
molding. So we got to get rid of
woman
that.
vice president is an alumni of Howard.
Get it
Kamala,
together.
I
I'm
need
not.
you to
I'm
get it
not
together.
impressed. Reputation is everything, and it's bad enough. People associate black with ghetto and different things, stuff like that. I mean, we're getting better, we're moving forward, but we're always seeing the stupid stuff comes up where we're always taking a half step back. So these are one of those marks that we need to erase.